Everybody hear me back there? If you can't, you're lucky. My name is Owen Short. I'm a local business owner, and I was the past president of the North Dundas Chamber of Commerce. So first of all, thank you all for coming. More importantly, thank these people here and the people in the front row for letting their names stand for election. So thank them all. Our hope tonight was to have as many questions come from the floor to give the candidates a chance to answer questions. Not to give them prepared speeches, but to give them questions that you really want to hear about. So hopefully that lineup at that middle microphone will be long in line and you'll have lots of questions. My task is really easy. All I have to tell you is that there is a potential mail interruption pending. What that means is, A, Joanne from the township, Joanne McCaslin, is at the back of the room. If anyone has any questions about on the voters list, off the voters list, how to get on it, how the whole process will happen, Joanne is more than happy to answer any questions. The biggest issue is the election information has been mailed out. It should be in your post office boxes within 2 days, Joanne?
2 or 3 days.
Yeah, if you don't, they have been sent out early. Make sure that you follow up on that. If it is in your mailbox, make sure you hang on to that. That's the only way you're going to be able to vote, okay? Without any further ado, there's no sense me talking. We're fortunate tonight because between the Chamber and the Dundas Federation of Agriculture, we've put on the 3 presentations. Tonight, next Monday in Chesterville, and the following Monday in Winchester. And our moderator tonight is from the Dundas Federation of Agriculture, and that is Jackie Pemberton. So I'm going to let her take over things and give you the rules. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Owen, for that. Can everyone hear me? Okay, some housekeeping rules to start. Please turn off your phones or have them on vibrate, as not to interrupt the evening. And also to note that the washrooms are at the back of the room to the left, my left, your right, and to please note the emergency exits for the evening. Okay, so I'm going to go through a process that we've selected for tonight. The candidates' names have been drawn randomly prior, and they're sitting in the order of that selection. Okay, to start the evening, we have invited our school board trustees here with us tonight, as it's been a while since we've had an election for school board trustees, so we thought we'd give them the opportunity to speak. So they have 2 minutes at the beginning to introduce themselves and provide information to you about themselves and why they're running for school board trustee. They will not be part of the debate discussion, but they will be here following to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so the format tonight is for opening statements. All candidates will be given 2 minutes. This will allow them to introduce themselves, give some background information, and outline their views on specific issues and why they've offered their services to North Dundas residents. The floor will be then open to a question and answer period, and the questions will be directed at 2 candidates only, all right? And you will be given 30 seconds. Now that's not a lot of time, so that I ask that you be clear in the question and short on the leading up to it. So we ask that if you have asked a question already, that you provide for others opportunity to come to the microphone. If nobody's standing there, by all means come back and ask your question. We ask that you avoid rebuttals, right? Please follow up with the candidates post the question period if you don't like the response or you have a further question, okay? And finally, we ask that you be respectful in your questions and also your answers. So candidates will be allowed 90 seconds to respond to questions. This is all being notified by a light. You'll notice a tray in the front, and the light goes on for the candidates, and the light will go on for your question, okay? So that's clear. So, as I indicated, the question should be directed at 2 candidates, And if in your question you're not directing it at two candidates, then I, the moderator, will choose the two candidates to answer. Okay? So it's not quite a traditional debate, but as Owen indicated, we wanted to give you the opportunity to ask the questions and not just hear speeches. So on that note, I'm going to start the evening. And first to speak from the English Public School Board trustee is Gerry Romberg.
Hi, I'm Gerry Romberg. I've been in this area for 12 years. I'm the current trustee too. I'm seeking re-election. I'm pleased to say that I have competition this year, and I think it's the first time in about 15 years, so that's fabulous. It's good to see people taking interest in public education, and I'm proud to represent currently, and I hope to do that next year as well. So anyways, if there's any questions about education, it's a passion. I have 4 kids, and they're sitting in the back. I call them to come here to see us talk, so it's fabulous. Anyways, if there's any questions after this, feel free to come up to me after. Thank you.
Next is Larry Berry.
Moderators, candidates, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, North Dundas Chamber of Commerce, for this opportunity to speak. I hope to be elected to all of Dundas County, both north and south. There's a large number of voters, over 15,000, and so the opportunity to speak to a large group of people like this is appreciated. The position for which I am running is English Public School Trustee on the Upper Canada District School Board. It's all of Dundas, it's Ward 7, and includes 7 schools. North Dundas High School, Seaway High School, Chesterville, Iroquois, Morrisburg, Nation View, and Winchester Public Schools. My platform will be in a brochure, be available afterwards. It's too large to describe in 2 minutes. However, I would like to emphasize one thing. If I get to be trustee, I will listen. I'll attend school committee meetings. I'll answer individual questions with a response. I'll read the local newspapers, and I'll listen to my fellow board members. In other words, I'll listen to all stakeholders. For most of my life, I've lived and worked in Dundas, and by working, I mean teaching school, okay? For about 22 years in Dundas. My background and experience speaks for itself. I'm a hard worker and a trustworthy person. Please keep in mind that a board has 11 voting members. An individual board member must get the support of the majority of members to achieve any motion or get anything done. Therefore, I plan to be a contributing member of the board. I plan to attend meetings in person. I plan to work hard. I want each and every child in our 7 schools to succeed. Thanks.
Next up is Donna Nielsen from the English Separate School Board trustee.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, North Dundas Chamber of Commerce, for inviting all candidates to this event this evening. Thank you. I am Donna Nielsen, and I am candidate for the English Separate School Trustee. After having recently retired after a successful career in Catholic education, I welcome the opportunity to run as English Separate School Trustee for Dundas and Stormont, Ontario. If elected, I would contribute meaningfully in the areas of faith development, curriculum, special education, First Nations, and mental health. It was inspiring during my career to work and collaborate with many professionals as teacher and later as principal. We were committed to nurturing the hearts, minds, body, and soul of all of our students. Planning in the best interest of our students and their families was paramount at every school in which I worked. As English trustee, I am committed to the following: being a leader in Catholic education, promoting student achievement, well-being, and equity, promoting a positive school climate that is inclusive and accepting of all students, being a visible and valuable presence at St. Mary St. Cecilia, where I was principal for 4 years, St. Mary in Chesterville, Our Lady of Good Counsel, and St. Andrews in St. Andrews West, where I was principal. I would create collaborative leadership relationships. I would provide collaborative relationships inside the board and across the community. And I'm committed to continuous improvement. I'm committed to my family. Our daughter is here this evening with us. My faith and Catholic education. Please visit me at our little table after the event this evening. Thank you for coming out tonight.
So now it's time for questions. No, sorry. Now it's time for our candidates, starting with Gerry Boyce.
Thank you, Jackie. Good evening, everyone. It's great to see such a nice turnout tonight. It's nice to see so much interest. I want to thank the North Dundas Chamber of Commerce, along with the Dundas Federation of Agriculture, for hosting this evening tonight. They put a lot of work into it. I decided last year, after much serious thought, to seek the position of mayor. I have gained great experience at the township level and the county level, working side by side with our mayor for the past 8 years. I have lived in North Dundas for over 50 years. My kids were raised here, went to school here, and I went to school here. Lauren and I have been volunteering in the community for close to 40 years. I grew up on a dairy farm. I had a beef farm of my own from 1983 to 1997, raising Hereford beef cattle. While working at Alt Foods, I call it Alt Foods because it was Alt's when I worked there, and now it's Parmalat. My time there consisted of 6 years with the union, and 15 years in management as a supervisor, managing employees and achieving production targets. I also owned and operated a successful business for over 15 years. I feel I have the experience to lead the municipality. My goals are to work with the Parmalat leadership team together with our township staff to resolve the environmental issues there in Winchester. Agriculture is the main business that drives our economy in North Dundas. I want to improve customer service for the taxpayers and promote growth both in residential and business sectors. Being in business myself has taught me to respect and treat the taxpayer as a paying customer. Everyone in the township has a right to be heard, and we will listen to your concerns. We want to see North Dundas prosper and grow. Our motto will be, good morning and how may we help you? Hopefully we can make things easier for ratepayers, especially for permits. Together, let's make North Dundas a better place to live, work, visit, play, and raise a family. Thank you very much.
Tony Fraser.
My name is Tony Fraser, and I want to be your next mayor. I love our township, and I'm very involved in it, whether attending one of many fundraisers, celebrating certain milestones, supporting the North Dundas Junior C Rockets, or organizing the Ride for Dad. Playing hockey, and even coaching hockey, I participate in our community. I'm finishing my second term as councillor for the Township of North Dundas. It is a role that I've enjoyed immensely. And over the last 8 years, I have learned a lot. Almost 2 years ago, I put my plan in motion, keeping a keen eye on the actions of the mayor, his interactions with staff, and people from the township, preparing myself for a job that I know I will be successful at. I'm extremely proud of all that we have achieved, and I will continue to foster relationships with progressive values and a progressive vision for the future. I'm running for mayor so that a generation from now, members of this community will be glad of the decisions we're going to make in the next 4 years. Having joined the fire department in 1995, becoming deputy chief in 2003, and recently in the role of acting chief, I've been put in many situations that call upon my leadership abilities, be it at fundraisers, community volunteer events, difficult internal decisions, motor vehicle accidents, fire ground operations, public safety emergencies. These situations have helped develop my leadership skills, which also has contributed to my decision to run for mayor. Some of you have been led to believe that the ward system is still in place. You deserve better than that. I am here to serve our whole township, every corner of our community, to listen to all members of our great township, regardless of where they are from. I would like to leave you with this tonight. Decisions the new council will be making will have long-term consequences for the future of North Dundas. This election is a pivotal point for our community, so let's ensure we don't lose hold of the valuable ground that we have gained in the last 8 years. I'm asking for your vote this October. Thank you.
Brad Pinch.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Brad Pinch, and I am running for deputy mayor for North Dundas. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. I was right in front of the light here, and I've got this big blue dot. Every time I look over at my name, I think it says Brad Pitt instead of Brad Pinch, and it's a little disturbing because I only look like I'm on the phone. So you'll have to bear with me. That being said, I have a huge amount of experience working with small municipalities across Canada, not just in this community. I'm from a small town myself in Nova Scotia. I spent 20 years here, raised 3 children with my wife, and we've been an active member of the community, part of the curling club, Lions, and I also work with the House of Lazarus, doing a lot of the technology work that they need in order to get computers out to those that require them. When I take a look at our town, I see a huge amount of potential that needs to be harnessed. And that potential can really be harnessed if we take a look at a forward view. Downtown, in each one of our small segments, South Mountain, Winchester, Chesterville, Moorwood, they're all suffering from the same thing, which is a traffic deficit. We also have seniors that are trying to stay at home but have no transportation and find it difficult to get around. And we have students who want to get jobs, but they can't be driven anywhere. We have farmers who are actually looking for people to work on their farms, but people can't get to them. I think part of what we can do here is build a rural transportation system that is second to none. I've seen it done in other communities as small as 6,000 people. We are far greater than that, and I know as a community we can pull together. I have a website, www.bradpinch.com. I've laid out a number of initiatives that I think are going to be really important for the township, and I really hope that you look at it and decide whether or not, in fact, you feel the same as I do and want to drive North Dundas into the future. Thank you very much for your time.
Al Armstrong.
Provided this works, Jackie. Well, I tried, Jackie. You did ask us to sit over there and give it a shot, so don't say I haven't cooperated with you tonight. Plus, I could have spent more time beside Brad Pitt. How many chances am I going to get for that? I don't look like Brad Pitt. I look like the before picture on any diet poster you've ever seen, and I will continue to look that way. For the last 18 years, I have had the honor, privilege, and responsibility of serving you as a councillor. As a key member of 5 councils, I've been an integral part of every single decision made by each of these councils, which has helped shape the quality of life in North Dundas. I've earned my reputation with residents over these last 18 years as an honest, straightforward representative. one that can be trusted to ensure your tax dollars will be spent wisely. My goals for our municipal budgets have always been and will continue to be an aim at minimizing spending by targeting efficiencies and best practices that I've learned over the years, and being a strong and determined voice for keeping tax increases to a minimum. With our next council, we are guaranteed to have at least 2 new members at our table. It's certainly a good thing to welcome new blood and ideas, but it's also very important to have strong, experienced leadership to help guide that transition. I have the most experience at the municipal level of anyone in our township, and I'm ready to make that next step to represent us at the county level. I understand the process and the requirements of the county council, and I will be able to hit the ground running on day one. I'm a strong supporter of our agricultural and small business community, and I understand their importance to the fabric of life in North Dundas. These are trying times for our economy, and as your deputy mayor, I will be an unwavering voice at the county council table on your behalf as I continue to be at the local level. I've also been the fire commissioner for the last 15 years, where I've served as the bridge between council and the fire department. I've played a pivotal role in all of the fire budgets during that time, helping to ensure the safety of both our residents and our firefighters. As well, I have chaired the Fire's Chief Steering Committee for the last 8 years, a role I hope to continue, should you decide to support my bid to become your next deputy mayor. I believe I am the best qualified candidate to become your next deputy mayor. I have the right balance of experience in my 18 years as councillor, and proven fiscal responsibility and creativity. I look forward to discussing ideas and topics with you on the rest of the evening. Thank you very much.
We're having a little bit of technical difficulty with the microphone, so we're just going to improvise here. Frank Fata. Sorry if you didn't hear me, this is Frank Fata.
Good evening. I would like to thank everybody for coming this evening, taking time away from your families, your businesses, and your farms to attend this important debate. My name is Frank Fata. I was born in Ottawa, married to the daughter of Wilfred and Ruby Crowder, who originally farmed right here in South Mountain. After the birth of our first and only child, Christopher, some 32 years ago, Connie and I decided to move to South Mountain, where we've been here ever since. Our son Christopher grew up here, went to school, played hockey, started his first job at a young age here in South Mountain, socialized, began teaching in this area. This community has been good to me and my family, and it's time for me to give back to the community. Life here in South Mountain is great. However, it does have its drawbacks. Issue of speeding, traffic, signage, lack of recreation, as in baseball diamonds, aging hockey facilities, and the lack of a splash pad or swimming pool in the area. As for farming, I'd like to propose to the new council to appoint a member to attend the DFA meetings, if they'll have us, on a monthly basis, similar to the representation to the South Nation Conservation Authority. And also to do with agriculture, I'd like to promote agritourism, which is something new starting in some European countries. With waste, I'd like to propose an assessment conducted by staff in order to see a program for seniors and other residents with mobility issues who would benefit from having door pickup of both waste and recycling. This to avoid any injuries in bad weather. In keeping with the same topic, I'm also proposing a feasibility study in order to extend the life of our only landfill and to save money by sending our compostable products to Ottawa. If any other questions, please feel free to meet me at my table at the end of the hall. I thank you.
Our next speaker is Michael Trolley. Can you hear me if I just shout? Yeah. Teamwork.
Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be here. My name is Michael Trolley.
That's spelled T-R-O-L-L-Y. I sometimes tell people I'm one vowel short of a streetcar, and I'm running for council. I've worn a lot of hats in my life. I'm a musician. I've spent a lot of time working with people with special needs. Right now I'm serving as a high school chaplain in Cornwall. Most importantly, I'm a husband and father, and one of the most important decisions that my wife and I made was to raise our kids here in North Dundas. And that, in a nutshell, is why I'm running for council. I want North Dundas to be the best place possible to raise a family. My family and I want to see more things for kids here, like some splash pads in our parks. We want our arts and culture scene to continue to grow. We want to see our communities grow, attracting more people to start businesses, raise kids, or retire here. And we also want to preserve our agricultural heritage to pass it on to our children. In my work with churches and group homes, I've worked with a lot of people in need or who are often left out because of their disabilities. I want to help bring affordable housing to North Dundas, more housing for seniors, and to make our communities as accessible and welcoming as possible. I want to bring people together, whether you live downtown or on a farm, whether you're from South Mountain, Winchester, or Morewood. I want to represent you. We already have a great township, but there's more to be done to build a unified community and to have a government that works for all of us. Government can't do everything, but what we can do, we should always seek to do better. I want to hear your ideas. I'm looking forward to speaking with as many of you as possible tonight, and I look forward to your consideration as you decide who to vote for on October 22nd. I'm asking your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the voters in the Township of North Dundas here tonight in the village of South Mountain. My name is Gerry Amble, and I'm seeking a council seat in the Township of North Dundas on October 22nd. I am now retired, but I owned and operated Amble's Jewelry in Winchester for 38 years. During that time, I've had many balance sheets and profit and loss statements prepared. I know how to read them, but more importantly, I've learned how to use the information that they provide. I know what a budget is, and I know how to stick to one. In today's economy, you have to plan and budget. Sometimes you have to say no, not yet, or full speed ahead. My reason for seeking a council position at this time is not a complicated one. North Dundas is my home. I believe you not only look after your home, but you have a responsibility to help look after your community. We are blessed to be living in a community where agriculture is the backbone of our township, and I learned a long time ago in my own business that if the farming community does not do well, none of the other businesses in our township do well either. I'm very aware, again, through my own store, all of the areas of the township, and look forward to the opportunity of serving them all. Hopefully, the questions that you ask tonight will help you, provide you with the information that you need to arrive at your decision as to who you would like to represent you at the council table for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Teresa Bergeron. Good evening. My name is Teresa Bergeron. I've been living in North Dundas since 1983, and I like the rural spirit here. I was born in Cornwall, where I still have family. I have been farming since 1978. I run an international business, which I started from scratch, and I survived raising 4 children through their teenage years. And I think anyone who has done that can almost do anything. I attended French Catholic schools, went to a convent until my university days. I have a BA from Queen's, a Master of Science from University of Guelph. The problem-solving skills that I acquired during my postgraduate training taught me how to assess situations, problems, collect data and information, strip the fluff from the important points, and find reasonable solutions. 4 years ago, I went door to door. I listened to what people had to say, and I've not forgotten. I'm running for councillor Council needs a good business head, a farmer, and a woman, and I'm all three. So I made it short.
Tyler Boyd.
Good evening. Thank you for everyone for coming. I grew up in this township my whole life. I'm a farmer. I know how to get things done. I'd like to see improvements made, and I think I can really bring things to the table and opinions that other people brought towards me that I feel are very valuable. I'd like to have the opportunity to do those things if you give me the chance. Kind of sort of making it short and sweet, but if you have any questions, just field in my direction and I'll be glad to answer them the best I can. Thank you.
John Thompson.
Good evening, residents of North Dundas and fellow candidates. My name is John Thompson. I've been a councillor in North Dundas since 2006, and I'm seeking re-election. As a lifelong resident of North Dundas, as a husband, father, and a business owner, my concerns, my wishes, and my commitment all center around ensuring the quality of life we enjoy continues. My 11 years on council has taught me to work effectively with council members, township staff, and you, the constituents, on key issues. The renovation and upgrading of existing township facilities and parklands, the repairing of road and sidewalk infrastructure, maintaining and expanding of sewage and water upgrades for our growing population, and the revitalization of the downtown cores have all been important projects that the council has successfully implemented. Having worked closely with the business community of North Dundas to help ensure economic growth, Council saw the creation of the Office of Economic Development. We focused on providing financial assistance to local businesses for renovations through the Community Improvement Plan. We experienced a healthy working relationship with the North Dundas Chamber of Commerce and worked with local contractors and developers to provide the necessary tools to help develop the township. A lot of work has been done, yet there is a lot more to do. What has been started must be completed. This will ensure that progress will not be in the form of a band-aid solution to important issues affecting the township, but rather a permanent, practical, and effective step into the future. Work will continue to ensure our infrastructure will meet the demands of a growing community, from roads to landfill requirements. A stronger working relationship with our agricultural community and the Dundas Federation of Agriculture is an important item on the next council's agenda, as is the creation of programs and facilities that will focus on the wellness of our residents regardless of age. I look forward to representing you again at North Dundas Council on October 22nd. Vote John Thompson. Thank you.
So, now we're at the point of the evening that you get to ask the questions. I do have one thing that I would like you to do. Since you know all the candidates, please state your name when you come to the microphone so they could get to know you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Congratulations to all the candidates for excellently presented overviews. I want to have my first question to the two candidates for Deputy Mayor. I believe volunteer government is really important to North Dundas. You will represent us at the counties of SD and G. How are you the best candidate to represent us there? The two dates for the two deputy mayor candidates.
I'm going to vote first. There you go. I actually think I'm really well suited in order to work with the second tier of government. Part of my responsibilities in the last 8 years have been actually to work as a consultant, and many of the consulting gigs that I've had and things that I've done have actually involved working with higher levels of government. I worked for the NRC, where I had to work directly with the SDNG in order to take a look at programs that would help the SDNG as a whole. I understand that it is a complex process when you start dealing with the Tier 1 part of the community as a Tier 2 community yourselves, but I think that I can actually put our best foot forward by being strong in our beliefs, looking at what we need and ensuring that we're able to give that information in a succinct and powerful way so that we absolutely get what we need from the county. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Bill. Obviously, I probably disagree with Brad a little bit on this. I think I would be the best candidate for the upper tier because of my experience at this tier. I don't need to learn this job, and I've also got extensive relationships. I'm working relationships with a lot of the department heads already at the county level. I'm currently actually in discussions with the allowance of our current council with Ben DeHaan at the county level to talk about a different way of providing our road clearing for us. I don't believe that the present manner in which we do it targets what is our strong traveling portion of our community early in the morning and then towards the evening when they come home. I fully understand and have worked with the counties on many levels. As some of you know, there's a lot of intermingling between the lower level and the upper level. I'm ready to make the step and be a permanent member at the upper level. They will as well have 7 different members this year out of the 12. And I think that you need someone who already understands exactly how it is to be there and has already had good relationships with people there. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Gerry Romberg. I'm a resident here in South Mountain. I'm very passionate about education. So I'll give a little plug for our current mayors in South Dundas and North Dundas. They work really well with our school boards. How do you propose, this is to our mayors, our candidates for mayor, so how do you propose to work a little bit better with your local school boards as well as at the local level with the local schools? Each one of you talked about how education is so important, and I'd like to hear a little bit about how you propose to work with the schools and the school board.
Thank you, Jeremy. I plan to continue on as we have in the past to work with the school boards, work with the principals, and meet regularly with them and find out what the concerns are. We have had some meetings with them, and we hope to keep the communication lines open and work with them, hear their concerns.
Thanks for the question, Jeremy. As for working with the school boards and the education system, my most recent interaction with the school boards has been over the discussion with closing down a street or making one-way streets and having parking areas, more green space for the school board. Those discussions were not unfriendly, but they were a bit contentious. And I hope we can move forward from that discussion to having discussions that are more open, not saying the school board is not transparent, but transparent for all, where we're able to discuss and come to one mind of some of the issues facing the children that are seeking education in North Dundas. Obviously, education is important. My wife and I moved to Winchester to be close to the Winchester Public School. It's across the street from us. We enjoy every day during the school year seeing people out enjoying themselves, parents picking up kids, kids being kids. But it's a dialogue that our council and the school board will have to enter into and become more familiar with the problems and needs of solutions that are important. And I think we have to venture down, not a new path, but a more open and transparent path.
Next question.
My name is Tony Kerr, and it's interesting, quite often educational issues are put on the back burner, but following the first question on education, I have a specific one for our mayoral candidates. And given the long-term economic and demographic impact local schools and education, how will you, each one of you, if elected as our mayor, promote traditional family values and morality in the education sector in particular?
Thank you, and I missed your name though.
Tony Kerr, resident
Tony,
of
I don't know how I can forget. Well, sir, the promotion of traditional values, families, is something that I believe is ongoing. I mentioned earlier, answering Jeremy's question, I look across the street at the Winchester barbecue that's held, I believe once a year. There's bouncy castles. Parents are mixing with teachers, are mixing with kids, are mixing with all family members. I see the traffic on the street during those events. There's many, many people attending that, and I believe that type of community does support the values that we hold dear in North Dundas. And I'd like to see that continue, and maybe a bit of a partnership, as we have a partnership with the fire halls, supporting the schools in their events, and maybe the township would be open to that sort of partnership. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tony. I feel the same way. I think we should continue the path that we've been on in the past, the way I raised my family, and the way my father and mother raised me. And a lot of praise goes out to the volunteers. There's a lot more volunteers involved in the school system now than there used to be when I was going to school. Because I guess, I don't know, parents didn't have the time, or they're busy working, or whatever, I don't know, but there's more involvement now with parents, and I think that's even better. They're involved in sports, and I think we should keep up the traditional values, and as far as I'm concerned, we're on the right path, and let's continue that way.
Next question?
Bill Swirl. Bill Swirl. It's Bill Swirl, and this time I want to direct my question to the candidates for mayor, and I want to ask them, and you know I'm interested, thank you, you know I'm interested in upper tier. Each of you will be our representatives in Cornwall at SD&G. What will your priorities be for us? Do you need this?
Thanks, Bill. If I'm elected mayor, and I'll continue to be the North Dundas rep at County Council, certainly we'll look after the problems of North Dundas, but we also have to look at the big picture too. We have 6 municipalities working together, and at this point we have a very good working relationship, and we have to listen to everybody's needs. Everybody has different needs in different townships, but we have to listen to each other, and it's not just all about bringing things into our area. We have to look at other areas too, so we have to look at the big picture. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Swirl. One of the focus in my time on emergency service, being a member of the fire department, is and should be emergency services being provided by Cornwall EMS to the outlying areas of North Dundas, but not strictly North Dundas. All of Dundas is suffering from the lack of emergency services. I shouldn't say the lack, but the lack of expedient emergency services. This is something that I brought up once at a meeting in Cornwall and another time in Berwick, that there is a lack of timely service at certain times of the day that needs to be addressed for the members of our community. Not to steal the thunder from Councillor Armstrong, but he has spoken about the roads, and I've had many incidents throughout the winter months, being on the fire service, of attending accidents and being told to leave the scene by the OPP because the roads are too treacherous for us to deliver emergency service to the people in need. Those things have to be addressed. We have to make it an issue in Cornwall that we have needs. Our dollars are equal to the dollars of everyone else in SD&G, and we should be represented fairly and equally with all members of SD&G.
Madam Chair, I apologize, but I don't mind asking questions.
Bill, there was a gentleman before you. He stood up, so I will let him continue if you don't mind.
Yes, good evening. My name is Michael Ball, and I'll direct this question to our Deputy Mayor candidates. I've only lived in this area for about the past 8 years. One of the problems we had when we first moved in was a total lack of trying to find a physician. We have several kids grown up all across the country and things like that. 2 of them with their families wanted to come back to North Dundas, excuse me. We used to live in North Gulf. They're not interested because it took us 6 years to find a family physician. We found one in Kempville. What can we do about getting physicians here? Because you talk about growth, you're not going to get growth for young people if there's no family physicians.
Okay. To the deputy mayors?
Yes.
All right, well, thank you very much, Michael, and you have hit a very large nail on the head. During my time in council, what we have done, and we implemented this almost 12 years ago, this is throughout all of Ontario, by the way. It's not just, I assume it's all of the other provinces as well for communities of our size. We have a bonusing program that is in place. It was successful to a certain extent. We were able to get 4 doctors over the course of the last 8 years. Some do leave. We are lucky with we do have a little bit of an edge with having the hospital, but what we do is we provide rent-free. We give $10,000, I think, a year. Yeah, well, I don't think it is $10,000 a year for 4 years. We help provide with moving. We do as many things as we can possibly do to bonus. We have people ongoing searches for doctors. We are better off than some areas, but certainly we're not able to serve everyone. We're going to continue on that. Quite possibly expand on it. We are lucky with the nation, with Bart Steele running his Nation Valley Medical Center. He's always looking, but we have had some doctors retire. All I can tell you is it is an ongoing service that we are trying to get, and we are not unlike everybody else in Ontario. But we will find a way, and we will be successful, whether that means we have to expand our bonusing program, but we will just continue to work on it.
Thank you for the question. I think when we take a look at the doctors in the area, one of the first things that we can do as a community is actually find out exactly what it is that they're missing. What I've heard from doctors who have come here for a short period of time, and I've had the opportunity to meet many of the young doctors that have come in, is that we lack some of the services that they're looking for in order to be able to enjoy themselves and participate within the community. I think we can take a look at ways of being able to incent without just spending money on helping them with their practice and putting them forward. That's a great provincial push that's been going on, and I think that that's welcome. But I think as a community, we really need to take a look at what we can do in order to support those doctors, particularly young ones that have come down here in order to be educated, in order to use our hospital as a way of being able to learn their craft and get them to stay afterwards. Thank you.
Next question.
I'm short, but I can manage. I think that's okay. Okay, across Canada, we can look up that we got a $72 billion industry in the pet industry. Across Canada, we can't look up what the benefit to senior citizens are across Canada because they're controlled by the province. We're one township out of the county in Dundas, and I grew up in North Dundas. And I would like to address this to both mayors candidates. What is your opinion on making a Canadian above everything else? Everybody should have the same care, the same control, and the same possibilities for nursing homes. What are you thinking of in the Township of North Dundas in providing better educated care and more professional standards in our township?
So your question is the deputy mayor?
No, the mayor.
And your name, please?
Wayne Berry.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question, Gwen. It's a very serious issue, and it's a big issue that we have to work on even more. We need more funding for home care. People want to live in their homes. We want them to stay in their homes as long as they can, and we have to work with our provincial government to get more home care and more funding. And as far as nursing homes go, our provincial MPP is working, and our MP is working on it also to expand the Dundas Manor. They're working on it right now. We all know we need a bigger facility there. It's not big enough. My father was there for 6 months, and it's a great home and a great staff, and they do a wonderful job with what they have, but they just need more space, and we have the property there for them. So hopefully in Dundas Manor, if we get that expanded and get a new building, that would be a huge asset. We can't do that soon enough, as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you for the difficult question to answer. As we are all getting older, we will take up more space. We will have to develop partnerships. We cannot do it within North Dundas. We have to develop partnerships with the provincial government. We have to develop partnerships with the private healthcare field. We may have to develop partnerships with the federal government. But I believe, speaking realistically, I do not believe that the Township of North Dundas is able to champion that fight by itself. It's a very large problem. My mother worked in the healthcare industry at different levels, finished her career in Castleman, a nursing home, visited there many times, visited my parents in nursing homes. I've seen firsthand, as we all have, the burdens that the healthcare providers carry along with them. But at the end of the day, I believe we're going to have to advocate for partnerships with the provincial government to support us with our needs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This question is for candidates Fata and Amble. Over the last time, I've seen some comments about wanting to be sure you're looking after your ward, etc. We're a large township. How do you propose to make sure that every part of this township is well served?
Well, thanks, Bill, for the question. One idea that I would like to see is that a sort of coffee meeting where you would have certain councillors attend local businesses or establishments across the township so you can approach them. For example, every first Friday of the month that you would be at the Timmy's in Winchester, or you'd be in Morewood, let's say on the last day of the month. Some way of being very accessible to the residents. The other idea with technology and our great website on the township's website is perhaps maybe having the council meetings on the internet where you can actually, instead of physically being there, you can attend it through the internet and watch the council chambers that take place at the meetings. Gerry?
I'm very much aware of the different areas in the township. When I was at the store, if I had to depend on any one village to support me at the village, at the store, it just wouldn't have worked. I've spent 38 years of reaching out to other parts of the township to get them to come into my store and shop. I like to feel that I'm a person that's out and around all the time. I'd like to feel that I'm a good listener. These days, it's easy to transfer information with computers and emails, phones. I would invite, perhaps, groups from different areas of the township every once in a while to come into a council and have a bull session and see if we could address some of their problems and help them out somewhat.
Next question.
Name is Owen Short. The question, or the comment was made by two different candidates tonight, the word splash pad. I've heard it a lot during this campaign, and I'd really like to hear where is it going to go and who is going to pay for it. I believe Councillor Fata, or candidate Fata, and Michael, you were also mentioned, so I'd like to have those two people comment, please.
Well, thank you for your question. There are two places that my wife and I have been talking about this a lot. The park in Winchester and the park in Chesterville. There's pools in both places, so there's already some infrastructure in place in terms of having water and plumbing and everything else there. There's a wide range of potential costs. It can be, you know, some of them are very expensive, but some are actually quite low cost in terms of $15,000, $20,000, I believe. So I believe that this is something where we could probably find partners in the community, people who want to contribute toward that, donations, business sponsors, advertising. So I'm not saying this is something where we should be throwing a lot of public money at it, but I think that there's an opportunity for a group of people to come together and work on a project and build something. I know that this is something that could be done fairly quickly at a fairly low cost, and it would be a tremendous amenity for parents with young children. It would be a lot of fun, and it's something that you have to drive a ways for now. So I think that this is very, very possible, and it should be a priority.
Owen, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Owen, when I was going door to door, I did get an earful right here in the village. If you have, especially with the hot summer we just had, youngsters, grandchildren, if you want to cool them down, you have to load them in the car and out to Winchester. And I got the same story when I've been going door to door in Morwood, where they have to either go to Chesterville or Winchester. Splash pad, maybe I'll define what I'm saying by splash pad. It's basically the same water recirculating, but coming out of like a large shower head, or some of them have where the water will fill into a bucket and then the bucket would fill up and spill over the kids. Just something to cool them down. It would be at either the park here in South Mountain or the park in Mountain for this end, and then the other end of the township would be like around the Morwood area where they have a park. Both facilities already have water. I don't believe the cost would be that much. It would be just the filtering of the water and the infrastructure to build it. With the hot summer again, you know, those are the two villages that don't have any access for a pool.
Thank you.
Steve Kaza from South Mountain here. This question I'm directing to candidate Gerry and Teresa. Both of you are new, trying to be new councillors on the board. What do you see in 90 seconds are the main issues that the council should be addressing?
Hi. Is it on? Yes. Okay. The main issues are, when I went around 4 years ago, people are concerned about how much taxes they pay. And what they don't realize is that about 40% of the budget is for roads. And our population, actually I just checked tonight, 11,278 apparently in 2016, only 4,000 households. And it's only 4,000 households that have to support, you know, all that road. It's not like in the city of Ottawa where there's 100 people that can pay for 1 kilometer. So a lot of money goes just for roads. So in order to reduce the tax base for every person is to try to attract more people to the township. And to attract people to the township, there are limiting factors for us. One of them is, I don't know how much supply of clean water we have to be able to attract people, to support more people here. We have the issue with the dump. People should be recycling more. People shouldn't be putting out as much garbage as they do. That could be a provincial issue that has to come, the municipalities have to approach the province to try and get things done about how much trash people put out. That much more has to be recycled. And then for those who want to live in the towns, then there's the issue of how much sewage capacity that we have and how much it would cost to increase the sewage. I think those are the issues.
I've found 3 or 4 different issues depending on which part of the township you live in. Rurally, a lot of rural people are quite upset with weed trimming, side road trimming. Some of the side roads, the weeds and trees and brush are so high that you can't see to safely pull out onto the road. Taxes are another thing. Nobody likes taxes. I don't like them any more than the next guy. When I lived in the house before I live in now, between the house and the taxes on the store, I was paying almost $10,000 a year in property taxes. And to me, that's just too much. Roads are another concern, and one of my own is Dundas Manor. I would like to see us have a new manor and a decent place for people to live in their later years.
Bruce Curry, Winchester. My question is for Tyler and for John. Will you continue to support Meet Me on Main and those types of events?
Well, as I attended almost all of them that I could this year, which was 4 of the 5, they seem to be well attended, and most of the community seem to enjoy them, so I think they should continue if all is willing to.
Tyler, will you support other events?
Yes?
Sorry.
No rebuttal?
Okay.
Thanks for the question, Bruce. Yeah, the events in the township, Meet on Main Street was very popular, or Art on the Waterfront, local agricultural fairs. The township has been very supportive of all the events we have going on, our open mic nights. I think it's great, it brings people in, it shows off a lot of the excitement and the talent that we have in the township and the hard work of the volunteers. Yes, I'm in support of it.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this question is for the 2 persons that talked about agriculture. I'd like to direct it to candidates Hoy and Bergeron. You've indicated an interest in, and it's really important, agriculture is really important for our area. What will be your priorities and how will you help us build it?
Well, I would like to see better ditches and roads for us to access our fields, and all in the community to have better infrastructure to continue to build on what we have and to prosper in the future. I do not want to lose any businesses we have because they're very important, and that is our main tax base we have is all agriculture related. So we have to work with Parliament and that and what they need, and all farmers in general, to make sure we can continue on.
Well, Bill, you might be surprised that I actually read the whole OFA thing, all 30-some pages. And I was actually, as I was reading it and read their concerns, I thought, wow, North Dundas actually has quite a few facilities. One of them was how to get their grain out. And, you know, we have the elevators in Winchester, we have Rudders. Oh, doesn't belong to Rudders anymore, but you know what I mean, the Rudders, elevators, Van den Bosch and Chesterville. So there's a lot of access to get the crops out, and there's a railroad that goes through. A lot of the area, of course, is dairy farming, and so Parmalat is right there receiving a lot of milk. I think one of the issues which they did have, which I am concerned about, of course, is allowing severances outside where the farms are because of the minimum distance rules, which I have been affected from decisions the township have made in the past, putting up houses. That's another story. And so, you know, I'd be very concerned whenever I think that population growth should be very close to where the villages are already, and not somewhere out in a rural area where it will affect the farming practices that are going on.
is Heather Shane. The question is for both Brad and Tony. We have mentioned tonight, a number of you have mentioned Parmalat, and all over the internet we're hearing of the current situation, the challenges that they have with the odor that they have in town. How would the council, how would you approach that and with Parmalat?
Thanks for the question, Heather. As you know, I work at Parmalat. I've worked there too long to remember. And I too have to put up with the odor that many of us have put up with over the years, more so this year. Recently, a public meeting was held to answer and to address some of the concerns that are valid and were raised. A lot of that communication smoothed the waters, answered questions people had. People had a better understanding of the efforts Parmalat's putting forward. Saying that I work there, I'm there quite often. I'm aware of what's going on. I have spoken to management about it. I've worked, I hate to admit it, back in the lagoons, back where the smell starts from. And I can say firsthand, the efforts that are going on is astounding. The number of people that are back there working, the number of dollars being spent. I can't believe there's that many engineers in Ontario driving around, measuring, figuring out better ways to deal with that odor. Efforts are being made, and I think it's important that our council continues as a partner in finding ways in supporting their efforts. I don't think we should be a roadblock. I think we should be an understanding partner. They understand the need to be there, and as they spoke at the meeting, the public meeting, as they spoke about this odor, and the need to stay in business there. They want to stay there. They want to stay in Winchester. The milk is of top quality. The farming is of top quality. The dairy is of top quality. We have to support the efforts as a community.
I think that's an awesome question. I think that Parmalat has had a free ride for the last 20 years. I'm right in the WAF channel for Parmalat, and the last cool day that we had where we could actually open our windows at night, I couldn't open mine because of the stench that was coming from there. I've learned a couple of things by doing a little bit of research. One is that the technology that they're currently boasting about that's going to do everything, in fact, is not going to support the smell and take it away. There are too many other elements that are out there. There's new technology out there, some called biotrickling. There are other technologies that are being used by other plants worldwide, in Montreal, actually even in St. Albert, that reduce and remove the stench, which is really important for us. The changes have to come from inside. The only way to force Parmalat to spend the money necessary to do that, because it is a higher cost, is to find a way of being able to find them every time, put a bylaw in place that finds them every time they actually have a stench that is so rank as it is. And in fact, at National Research Council, there's a device you can bring out that actually measures, it's like a smellometer, that actually measures how stinky things are, and you can actually base it on that. We know that Parmalat expanded before they ever thought about making changes. And that's a real problem, considering that they're looking at expanding again. My fear is that they expand past their current capacity as well, and that we end up with this over and over and over again. I think it's time for us to stand up and indicate what it is that we want Parmalat to do in order to make sure that they are a good citizen.
Good evening. My name is Fred Bordelucci. I'm a resident of North Dundas. I'm a father, a parent, and I'm also a teacher. And my question is to Tony and Gerry. And I know in a lot of respects your hands will be tied, but 1 month from today, the legalization of marijuana will become a reality within our township. And I'm just wondering what is in place, or what are your thoughts in terms of what will be in place in terms of dealing with law enforcement, provincial and federal governments, and municipal or whatever, to make that all a reality.
Thanks for the question, Fred. Yes, October 17th is almost here. I, like many of us, are astounded at the lack of direction that has been offered by the federal government, lack of direction by the provincial government. They're essentially leaving us hanging. They've offered us $10,000 to smooth the waters, to figure things out. $10,000 won't put a roof on your house. I don't know what measures municipalities can take, but this will become law. It will be legalized. We'll have to face the reality. The policing will not be sufficient to deal with the things that they are speaking that they will have to deal with. I'm not sure if it will all come to light, but when they talk about roadside tests, I haven't heard concrete evidence that that's been established, and we're less than a month away. I guess a month away. So what are we going to do to deal with it? We're going to have to be supportive of the policing that we have in our area, and we'll have to look at the bylaws and the direction from the provincial government, hopefully whenever it becomes 2019, that they offer us, so that we can make better decisions as to where retail outlets will be located, and hopefully the provincial government will understand the need to support municipalities with the burden of dealing with the question of legalization.
Thanks, Fred. It's a major concern of mine because it's not only North Dundas, it's all of every municipality across Canada are going to be struggling with this issue. And it's not enough time. You're not giving us resources. We don't know what's going on. We haven't got the information. Initially, sometime down the road, we should go to the public and see what the public think, but I do kind of like the way the stand the town of Perth is taking. Mayor Fenwick say, let's wait for the first year and see what unfolds and see what happens and see what goes on every place else, and then look at it after year one. But I don't think we should rush into it. We really have to take a good close look at the policing and work with the provincial government, the federal government, and there's just too many unknowns out there. I'm concerned about it. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Next question.
Am I permitted another one? Okay, it's Tony Kerr again. And when we're talking about the legalization of marijuana, these are big issues that will have, and are having right now, tremendous impact on our kids. And I've been a teacher and a high school principal for Upper Canada for many years. And I'm concerned about the after prom and pre-prom parties that spring up every year. I'm sorry?
State your question.
Here's my question. What position do the mayoral candidates have with respect to oversight on the pre-prom parties, which place, in my opinion, many, many, many young people at terrible risk? Thank you.
Well, thanks for the question, Tony. I hadn't thought about prom parties yet, and cannabis. I know what else is involved with pre-prom parties, but we have to work with our regulatory services and our provincial government and work with them hand in hand. It's going to be an issue, but I'm not sure how we're going to deal with it. It's a big question mark, to be quite honest.
Dealing with such issues as pre-prom, post-prom, house parties, large gatherings, our municipal bylaws will take effect for noise, policing from neighbors if there's destruction of property or dangerous activities taking place. Neighbors would have to police that, as they do currently. Parties are going on, neighbors are unhappy, and if neighbors are being disturbed, that is the way it's policed through bylaw, through OPP enforcement. I don't know of any other way that the municipality could affect policing or regulatory controls on a party that goes on in a grove, in the backfields, or behind someone's house. We're not that type of society that would be looking over fences, but we are the type of society that does look out for each other, and if there are things that are going wrong, things that are unsafe, and things that shouldn't be taking place, I trust that our neighbors will look after that and report it to the proper authorities.
Hello, I'm Trevor Smith-Miller. I just recently moved back. This is to the mayoral candidates. There's been a lot of fantastic ideas that are being around. I mean, the splash pad, expanding the manor, all that stuff. But the provincial government has made it clear that they are not going to be spending a lot of money on certain things. And with a federal election coming up, they might not be spending all that much money on certain things either. So that you guys are not raising taxes in the community, my question is, where will the money be coming from without tax raises? Will you be able to leverage the other levels of government for any such money? And if so, where would that money be coming from?
Well, first off, Trevor, I didn't talk about splash pads. So I'm not worried about leveraging money for splash pads. But as for the other things, it is not something that we suffer. We're not in a bubble. We're not on an island in North Dundas. The problems with the healthcare system and looking after our seniors, providing proper care for them is something that's suffered by all of us across Canada. So the leverage would come from a united voice expressing our concerns to our upper levels of government. I don't think that we can afford as taxpayers to pay for the things that are needed to look after our seniors, to look after our infrastructure, to look after the things that are going to be required going down the road. It is the united voice of people that are in need that will win the day. And that's what I propose, is that we speak to our counterparts at the upper tier and approach our MPs and our MPPs with our concerns and ask them to support us.
Thank you, Trevor. We've already had conversations with our MP and our MPPs. They know the situation. I'm talking about the nursing home, not splash pads. To raise money for that right now, I think we'll have to work with them and come up with ideas. And we have raised a lot of money for the Winchester Hospital over the years. We went to the community, and the community came forward and helped us out. We had fundraising events and galas and draws, and we raised a lot of money out in the community. So I'm not saying that's what should pay for it. I'm not saying Amble should come from taxes, because taxes are high enough and there's only one taxpayer. So we have to be respectful of tax dollars, but we have to work with our federal and provincial counterparts closely.
Next question.
This question is again for the mayor candidates. I spoke to my neighbor who lives on 18 acres. She just had surgery, she'd be here. I live on a smaller acreage in the township of North Dundas. We're being taxed at the full residential rate for small acreages. What are you willing to do to reduce the rate for small acreage people who own small acreages in the township of North Dundas, instead of favoring agricultural property, but to reduce that rate from the full residential rate and assess it properly between the house value and the land value?
Thanks again, Gwen. Well, we have to work with MPAC. As you know, MPAC are in charge of the taxes. They set set the tax rate, so we have to work with them, and the appeal process is available, and it could be used. That's we'll work with anybody to lower the taxes. Everybody wants their taxes lower. But, okay, that's all I can say about that.
When my answer will be somewhat vague, I'm not sure what small acreage is. I'm not sure if you're a hobby farmer. I'm not sure if you're an agricultural business. I'm not sure if you're just a property owner with lots of grass to mow. I'm not sure where we stand with that. MPAC, just to make a correction, MPAC doesn't set the tax rates. MPAC establishes the assessment and puts a value on your property. That's a standard that's followed across most of the province, I believe. It's a standard that we use. It's a business that we use to follow, to set our taxes or to collect the dollars. They set the assessment, we apply the mill rate, tax dollars are collected. As for finding a way to lessen the taxes for certain businesses, that's something that I'm not really ready to commit to, because again, it's a very vague and open question. It'd be unfair for me to start dictating whether or not 10 acres deserves a different rule than 15 acres, then 20 acres, then 30 acres. I'd be remiss to make a comment and try to satisfy your question.
Steve Kaza. I've been a resident here of North Dundas for 34 years, and my question is to the candidate John and candidate Al. Over the years, I've followed you guys in the newspaper, read your comments the odd time. What else new do you have to offer to North Dundas?
Well, thank you, Steve. New, I would say it's not a splash pad, although that seems to be de rigueur these days. The reality of it is that we are doing new things, and we have done new things. We've implemented, but we haven't finished the tar and chip process throughout all of North Dundas. We undertook a 10-year plan. It was the first time that we'd ever done it. We realized in the first 2 years that there's more work than we thought. We've gotten 60 kilometers done of the 140 kilometers. I'm certainly committed to seeing that through, because as other people have said, that helps the agricultural community, but it helps all of our community. It helps you get to the farms, but it also helps our commuters. I'm not a big proponent of just new for the sake of new. We are always evolving. Over the last 8 years, certainly with this most cohesive council that I've ever served on, we found best practices and new efficiencies all the way through. And continuing along that way, we need to finish what it is that we've started before we take on too many new projects. If you could consider the fact that we're expanding the landfill, that's new, it's not finished. The roads, that's new, not finished. We have now incorporated into our budgeting process, we add in the growth rate so that we can mitigate the tax raises. So we've actually dropped the mill rate, just so everybody knows, we've actually dropped the mill rate 4 of the last 5 years. I know your taxes haven't gone down, but as Councillor Tony said, that has to do with the assessment. So we've brought in new innovations into our budgeting process and our roads, but I'm not standing up here saying we're going to build a new pool or do something like that.
Thanks for the question, Steve. Some of the programs that we've started, like Councillor Armstrong said, they're not going to be new coming in, but they're new for us. Helping out with the new CIP program that we've launched, the community improvement for local businesses, for renovations, fixing up the businesses, helping out the downtown cores and the small business. And we've now partnered with the United Counties. They've started a CIP program that's going to link together with it. So that'll help out the business section. The roads, our infrastructure it's ongoing. So it's old, it's new, it's just an ongoing process that's going to be going continuous through. One thing is with our recreation programs, we're starting a lot of new programs. And there's, I have talked in mine about wellness. We have an aging community, we have a lot of young communities, we have fantastic sporting facilities and clubs, but there's some stuff that's not cookie cutter, doesn't work for everybody. And so I would like to look into some programming just to keep the quality of life for all the residents. Different programming we can do and different options.
Here's another question.
Hi, my name is John Havicus. Farmers are required to acquire a burn permit in order to burn the materials, but right now they have to phone Ottawa, and that decision is made in Ottawa. I wonder if that could be made a local decision, because our weather can be totally different than what Ottawa is. So my question is addressed to Gerry Boyce and Al Armstrong.
Thanks for the question, John. I heard a lot about that. I heard a lot about that complaint this past year. I'm not on the committee, and I haven't seen our new bylaw yet. So maybe I'll pass it over to Councillor Armstrong, and he can give you some more information on it because I haven't seen anything on it yet.
Well, just before the 90 seconds starts, just for clarity, you're asking about the actual burn permits that we get now, not about the new burn management bylaw that will be coming into place at some point in time, correct?
Can that decision be made local, on a local basis, because our weather is different than what it is in the
Right, for the burns that we have now. Well, in my role as fire commissioner and sitting at the steering committee table, we've discussed this many times. It is open to the possibility of change. I can't guarantee you that it would change, because just for the complexities of how that decision is made, Ottawa, so that people know, we partner with Ottawa. Ottawa is our dispatch provider. They have an entire department and they have a dedicated core of people that are searching. They don't just search Ottawa. They go all the way up to the valley. They go to all of the reaches that Ottawa OFD touches, which is way more than just North Dundas and way more than just Ottawa. So they have experts that are checking for the wind conditions, the temperatures, the climate conditions, but also the soil conditions, everything. It goes way more into anything that we would be capable now. If we were to make those decisions for the safety of North Dundas residents, we would at least, not to say that it's impossible, but we would certainly have to hire someone and have someone dedicated to doing at least, if not the same as what Ottawa does, certainly much more than we're capable of now. So I know that's not the direct yes or no answer that you would like, but if it was to be yes or no right now we're not capable of making a safe and prudent decision. But if we were to look at hiring someone and looking into having somebody dedicated during the summer months, we might be able to do it.
Okay. We'll look to have this question in, and then we'll start with closing remarks.
Okay. This is to the new councillors or any councillor who'd like to answer this question. Neither one of the mayors stated that you have to make over $7,000 a year to qualify as a qualified farm property. If you're a senior living on a small acreage, you quite often can't do that. There's many people who move in from neighborhoods in Ottawa, etc., that aren't doing that. And I do, after selling real estate in different townships in this province, I do know that other townships have adopted different policies.
Your question.
Okay, what are the new councillors looking at trying to help reduce the tax rate on small acreage? Agricultural, in the township of North Dundas, small acreage.
So I'm going to direct this question to Michael Trolley and Tyler Boyd.
Thank you for your question. I wish I could give you a better answer. I'd really like to talk to you after to learn more about the situations you're describing, because that sounds like it's a significant concern. I think that there are a lot of cases with properties, just even some of the stuff that I've been reading over the past couple of weeks about agricultural land, that there are cases where things have been assessed, where they need reassessments, where there's confusion about tax rates. And certainly, though, there's a broader issue in our municipality that we need to be looking at affordable housing, especially for seniors. And this doesn't always mean building new houses. It could mean programs to help make sure that seniors can stay in their homes. And if there are undue tax burdens that they're facing that are forcing seniors to possibly leave their homes, then that's something that should be looked at under a program to ensure affordable housing for seniors. And I think that should definitely be a priority, especially with an aging population. That's just something compounded when you look at our needs as a rural municipality. We need to address specifically the needs of seniors who are living in rural areas and what they need.
I guess it would depend on what type of acreage you were talking about. If it's possibly be croppable acres, then you would maybe consider sharecropping, that you could get your farm business registration number and have the reduced farm rate. And if it's not that type of land, then I guess we should be able to look into reduced cost for taxpayers' rates if it's eligible in some manner, depending on the type of ground it is. Obviously, if it's not reproductive land, then I guess that should not qualify as a huge tax base as a normal house would on the property or farmlanding. So it's something we should look into, and I will gladly look into that further.
Certainly, thank you to you for your questions tonight. So we're going to start this process in reverse order. Thank you. So we're going to start this process in reverse order. So your closing remarks, and we'll start with John Thompson.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. 11 years ago, I was very excited when I first ran for a position on North Dundas Council, and I'm equally excited for the upcoming election. What is forefront in that excitement is having experienced the satisfaction of seeing projects that matter to North Dundas residents become a reality. Coupled with that is a desire to continue to see projects and ideas, both existing and new, become part of our future. Being a council representative in a municipal setting carries with it the responsibility of listening and working with the people in that municipality. I have always taken this responsibility seriously. I will continue to work with the constituents, with North Dundas and North Dundas staff to ensure that all voices are heard. We are proud of the growth that North Dundas has experienced. A continued commitment to ensure the needs of this growth is of great importance moving ahead. I am prepared and experienced to meet those demands. I'd like to thank North Dundas Chamber of Commerce and the Dundas Federation of Agriculture for hosting these debates, and thank you, the constituents, for showing your interest in the election for your next council. Thank you.
1 minute closing, okay?
I would like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and the questions put forth. I will try my hardest, if I elected, to meet the needs of all and to work closely with the other council members in the best way possible. Just thank you for putting this on and for attending tonight.
When I applied for university in 1969, and I don't have my glasses on, but I can tell the population age in here approximately, and a lot of you will be trying to figure out how old I am. But remember, there was grade 13 in there, so add that extra year. Okay. In the university institutions, they had quotas on the number of women who could study in certain careers, such as medicine, dentistry, engineering, maybe law, I don't know. The first year I was at Queen's, there were only 5 women out of 65 in pre-meds. The lowest average that was accepted from a woman was 93% to get in, from a man 65%. I know that for a fact, I was there. Because the Board of Trustees considered it a waste of taxpayers' money to educate women in these fields, because we would only get married, stay home, and not work. Those classrooms that were once subject to quotas are now filled with way more women than men. So what I'm telling you is intelligence and capabilities are not attached to the Y chromosome. Here I am today, the only woman up here, and there's no quotas here. Okay. You have to get into politics.
I'd like to say thank you to our hosts for putting this on this evening, and I'd like to thank you all for attending tonight. I would appreciate, before you go home, to visit my table and take home with you some points I'd like to see addressed by your new council. Over the last 38 years, I had the opportunity to sell or handle and repairs most of the family jewels in North Dundas. I'm looking for your trust again in your vote. Thank you.
It's going to take me a minute to stop laughing. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Thank you to the DFA and the Chamber of Commerce. It's been a pleasure. As I said at the beginning, North Dundas is a great place to live. You're all such wonderful people. But we have some work to do. We need affordable housing. We need more housing for seniors. We need to continue creating resources and amenities for young families. We need to bring people together from our downtowns, suburbs, and rural areas to find win-win solutions. We can look to the future and have healthy growth while preserving and strengthening the rural lifestyle and agricultural heritage that draws people here. I love working with people, and I want to serve as part of a team. I'm not here with some big agenda of my own. My goal is to build community and to be a voice for all North Dundas, faithfully representing multiple viewpoints and looking for common ground. I believe that my experience working with diverse groups of people has prepared me well for the challenge of serving on our council, and I am asking for your support on October 22nd. And even sooner, if you want to take a sign home tonight, I've got lots with me. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you again, folks. It's been an honor to hear from you. And I'm hoping that you will support me as a new councillor in North Dundas. You have my commitment. I'm available at all times, especially early in the morning when my day starts at 3 a.m. Feel free to give me a call around 3 a.m. Well, maybe about 10 after, because I'm buttering my toast at that time. Yes, I do use butter on my toast. Or cream cheese if it's on sale. As a health and safety rep for the City of Ottawa and a shop steward, I've represented my co-workers for many years. It would be my pleasure and privilege to serve my community right here in North Dundas. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll always remember one important thing, that it's your hard-earned tax money that we'll be responsible for. If you have any other questions, I'll be at the back, and look for my flyer that'll be sent in your mail very soon. Thank you again.
Okay, I guess this is the point where I actually admit that it's Gary's fine handling that made me a frequent customer over the years. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for the support and the opportunity that you provided me for over the last 18 years to serve this great township. Over this time, I've gained the experience required to take the next step and represent us at the county level while continuing the good work that I've done over the last 18 years at our local level. I'm trained, prepared, and ready to do the job that others think that they could take a shot at. Over this term of council, to remember, there's going to be 7 of 12 members changing a county council. It is integral that we have an experienced voice for North Dundas in the deputy mayor's role. I've been preparing for this position for 18 years, and I'm ready and eager to step up and be the voice we need at both levels. My wife Dawn and I moved to North Dundas 26 years ago and have never thought of leaving. I've made my living here working for a local businessman and local success story, Ed Duncan, though he probably wishes it was maybe time to move on from day to day. But I've seen a small business in this community go from a hard-working man to an incredible success story. I'm standing here in front of you asking you to support my bid to be your next deputy mayor by voting for Al Armstrong on October 17th.
Thank you very much for coming out and giving us an opportunity to speak to you directly. I ask you to come and talk to me after this if you'd like to. I agree with Al that what's really important here is somebody with experience. After 18 years, we haven't seen a lot of change except the last 2 terms when Eric was manning the wheel. Most of the initiatives that you heard here today were actually brought forward by him. What we need on council is somebody who has new ideas, who understands innovation, who understands the way to take a look at a problem is not just to barrel through it, but rather to find solutions that work and find solutions that will work for our community. I hope that you support me in my bid for deputy mayor, and I thank you very much.
Remember, elections are about making choices. You can decide to continue moving forward, Or you can choose to make a U-turn and to go back to the days when deals were done with a wink, a nod, the proverbial handshake. Or you can choose to move forward with energy, someone that has a proven leadership capabilities, is open to accepting new ideas and new technology. Keep this in mind. The next council will be making decisions that will affect the future of our community. It is very important that we make the choice and we look forward to the future. Thank you very much.
Well, I hope everyone had a chance to get to know the candidates better tonight. I talked to a lot of people that said they just didn't know who all the candidates were. So this was your first venue to get to know them better and ask some questions. And there's still 2 more debates to go, as you know. I'd be glad to, I would imagine there'll be time, well, there will be time afterwards to talk to us all after. My table's over in the corner there. I seriously ask you to consider me for the office of mayor October the 17th to the 22nd. Lauren and I are now retired and we have the time and energy to be North Dundas' first full-time mayor. We had time to go to most events before when we were working full-time, so now we'll have time to go to practically everything within reason, of course. We still have some unfinished business from the last 2 terms we want to complete. The 10-year road plan did not get done. We have more roads to improve with tar and chip and surface treatment processes. Roadside mowing and brush cutting in the ditches also require improvement. We can do better. Thank you for coming out tonight, and please call if you have any questions or concerns. I want to work for you, and I promise you integrity and honesty, and I'll always return your call. Thank you.
So that concludes our question portion for the evening. And first, again, I would like to thank you for coming out and asking questions of the candidates. Just a reminder that there is 2 more debates. They are on the September 24th and October 1st. So they're located in Chesterville Legion and the Joe Still Community Hall. So once again, thank you. And one more thank you to all the candidates who put their names forward.